This is Dirshu Mishna Berurah as we continue learning Hilchos Kriyas HaTorah, beginning a new Siman Baruch Hashem, Siman Kof Alamid Tes, which is the Seder Kriyas HaTorah Ubir Chaisel, the order of the reading and its brachas. And as you realize, there's sort of a progression going on over here. We began with who gets the aliyah, what happens if the wrong person is called up. We continued with how long each aliyah should be, which we mentioned, and nowadays that we already have it all broken up for us, it's less of an issue. And now we continue with the actual Seder of the Kriyas HaTorah. Says the Machaber in Siv Aleph, in the place that the minhag is that the one that gets Aliyah reads aloud. If they did not already make the parsha 2 times, Vishalish, and a third, Beinoi lebein atzmai, between him and himself, lo yale, he should not go up. Says the Rama, in the place that we have a Baal Kaire, like we just mentioned, like we do, he has to know what he's doing at first. And I believe, I don't know if this is accurate, maybe someone could shoot us an email. I believe that in certain European, maybe Sephardi sects and whatnot, they still have that the one that's called up, he is the one that leans. But let's see the Mishnah Berurah that's going to discuss exactly what is going on over here. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sivkatan at Aleph, commenting the Mishnah Berurah on this din that the person should not go up if he's not prepared. Hainu, says the Mishnah Berurah, they called him up. And Chazal said, and this line that we're about to learn from Chazal is really a line that was a thread that really was woven through a lot of the previous Simanim. If you remember, we learned halachas, the Kain's called up, and someone's called up for a Kayin and he's not a Kayin, or people are called up for the wrong aliyah. He said, we kept on saying, you never go down. You wait there, you move to the side, you'll get your aliyah soon, etc. So what is the reason for this critical importance that's always given to once one is called? Says the Mishnah Berurah over here, quoting the Gemara, there are 3 things that shorten the life of a person, Rahman al-Islam. One of them is they call him up, he doesn't read from the Torah. So even though there's such importance that when one is called up, he should never defer, still, says the Mishnah Berurah, here he should not go up. Why? Because you got to be prepared. And we rely on a pasuk that says, before we continue, let's take and actually before we even go to the Dirshu, let's take a moment. No, excuse me. Let's go right away to the Dirshu over here. Says the Dirshu, commenting on this Gemara, number 1, that someone's given a Sefer Torah to read, he doesn't read. Someone who gets the Aliyah and he makes the bracha, Achinu Kayirba, says the Magen Avraham, Shafalam Nemar Kvedus, the same thing. Just making the bracha is not enough. Ulam, however, the Rabbi writes, Shlo never dinzel is manashas, Sholo HaKayir v'lo shechsiv. So Baruch Hashem, nowadays we have a Baal Kaireh, it's not as scary. Let's just realize what just happened. The Magen Avraham and Siman Nun Gimel is teaching us that when you get an aliyah, you have to read together with the Baal Kaireh, and this same dreadful din would apply to one that does not. Your Rabbi is saying it is not true. This is the reason, says Rosh Mizabel and Arbach, that if they ask someone to read from the Torah, he should not deny. He should not say no. But of course, it's only if he knows that lane, which is the rest of his halacha, that if he doesn't know, then he does not. Now this is Dirshu note number 2. This is only if he's l'sader b'nei lebein atzmai. This is what we're going to learn in Siman Kufman Aleph, that we do not call 2 brothers one after another because of Ayin Ara. Says the Shar Ephraim, even if they call him up, he should not go up. What do you mean? Yikatru Yamav. No, if it's the wrong thing to do, it doesn't apply. V'kachim Mashmais Mishnah Berurah over there is the same thing. And similarly, the Shas Shuvas Tereshul Shema adds on that since the reason he's not going up is not because of the zilzul of the mitzvah, therefore you're not part of the close. So we're understanding that when this Gemara is teaching us that One who's called up to the Torah does not call up, and now Dirshu over here quotes the Meiri that says it's cause of gaiva. It's only if there's not a sidebar reason. But if someone doesn't go up because there are two brothers, Allah that we're going to see Shnak and Aliyah's back to back. Or over here, if he doesn't know the laning, then the klala does not apply to him. Someone does not go up due to the busha that he does not know. Sheino Yachal Lindar Kiminok says the Shal Shuva Lishma is not included in this. On the other hand, since Eliezer says, even if you're embarrassed, you should go up, you should get over your embarrassment due to this sakana, due to this klala, and we have to be careful about the bizayin of the kavod HaTorah. We continue over here, Sif Katan Beis, which is commenting on the Ramah, in the place that we have a Baal Kairei, a Shliach Tzibur that reads, Hu tzarich l'sader tchila, he's the one that should be proficient and know what's going on. It says, Mishmur Sikatan Beis, Hu tzarich v'chulu, U'b'diavad Avein Shabes K'nez B'shasida l'asa b'tchila, if there's no one that knows that alone, Kadesh l'vatal, l'kriya b'tzibur, nagin l'hakil sheikra, Echa she'yadeh l'nagin atam and avol b'shloi sider. Even the one who doesn't really know what he's doing, we're makel that he lanes. V'karin l'fanav, Belachash the Chumash or Siddur, and someone should help him out. Someone should read together with him from a Chumash or a Siddur in order that we could have Kriyas HaTorah and not be Mevatel the mitzvah. And the Kpam Sim Kufim and Beis Mishna Berurah Ma Shenichtav V'zeh Tchila Sevkat Gimel Mitzvah Min HaMovchash Gam HaOili Yisad Tchila Beino L'Bein Atzmon. Says Mishna Berurah, the best is the one getting the Aliyah should also know the Kriyo. B'shtayim Mikra Shekara V'Erev Shabbos Yoytzei Ki Nechsha B'Cheshbon HaSider. Says the Mishnah Berurah, an extra plug to do Shtayim Mikra, because that's considered that you're preparing yourself in case you get an Aliyah. So before we see the Dirshu, there's a Shartian over here. Shartian Oizabeis, it says, Al Kein Tov Shab Erev Shabbos Yikra Shtayim Mikra V'Echet Targum Pen Yikulam Achal Alus Satayra. And I guess we should add on that in a scenario that one knows he's getting an Aliyah. Perhaps he had a child, or he's a Bar Mitzvah, or he's the father of the Simcha, etc., or he has yard side. There's always a mitzvah v'shtayim mikra, but we're seeing here an extra reason to be careful with shtayim mikra. Dirshu note number 3, quotes Mishnah Berurah and Siman Kufman Beis Sivkot and Ches, that says the someone who reads from a Chorv should not read aloud, just enough the Balkari should hear him. And look over there that we're going to say the Balkari that wants to look in a Chumash before each and every pasuk, he's allowed to. And similarly, we're going to discuss that over there. And similarly, what you're allowed to do with, you're allowed to put a clear overlay on the Torah with the Nekudais. We'll get there, B'siyat Shemaya and Siman Kof Mem Aleph. Dirshu number 4 quotes the Lavosh regarding this mitzvah Amuvchar, that one should do the laning first by himself, explains, so that he could read together with the Chazan. A critical detail sometimes, as we saw how important it is to read with the Chazan, but we're seeing is that we have to prepare. You should be proficient at some level so you can lane together with him. Regarding the Haftarah, says the Raman Siman Reish Behei, you should also read it at first. Mishmur over there explains that a person should be a buck in the Haftarah. Why? Because maybe he gets them after, whereas when it comes to Yom Tif, it's not going to be the same. Finally, Dirshu number 5 quotes the Mishnah Berurah and Reish Hey, where it says over there about doing Shtayim Mikra and Erev Shabbos. And what happens if you didn't do it? We'll learn the halacha is over there. And we continue with Sif Beis and Gimel, in which we're going to take together. Says the Mechaber Sif Beis, Mi she'eino yoidei, alikra someone does not know the lane, Zarech limchos biyad, there's layal, Sif Atari Shnak at the Aliyah. V'im tzrich lazeh she'eino yoidei, alikra is lafi, shu koyin alevi, v'in sham achar zulasa, he's only koyin alevi. Im kisheikra lo shliach sibra mila b'mila yoidei, Allah amra, if he can lean together with the shliach sibra of likra, Yisai ben aksav yachal al, to get the Aliyah. V'im lav lo yale. Startling detail that if one does not have the ability to at least lane together with the shliach sibra, he should not be getting the Aliyah. We'll see the Mishmur on this in a moment. Continues the Machaber Sif Gimel. Afilu Rosh HaKnesset Chazin Lo Yikra Ad She'amar Lo Yikra. No one should go up and lay until he's told to. V'nagu Sheikh Sibra K'shotz Bavaria V'kari Belina Tilas Rishos Sheikh Sibra Kod Mishanavi Ki'ilu Mishash Sheminu Sheikh Sibra Rishos Al Kach. It's his job, so it's as if he's being told to do it. Says the Ramam, Dinasino Ilu Ein Noigin Kain is not a minog V'ina Chazan Oila Rak Shaskan Amar Lalalos. The Chazan tells him to get up there at the skan. The Gabbai tells him to go and lean. Aval Ein Karin Loi Bishmai K'may Oilim Shekarin Nasa Bishmai Ma'apleni Bar Pleni. Umisha Aviv Mumar Lavedis Chavim Karin Nasa B'Shem Avi Aviv So his father, Rahman al-Islam, worships idols. We call him b'shem his grandfather. Avaloi b'shmei levad. Don't just call him by his own name. So we don't want to embarrass him. V'dav, because says Ramash Allah miyama v'shem aviv. Only Allah miyama v'shem aviv. Only if they never called him the name of his father. Gadol v'horgal ba'isa a year allows v'shem aviv v'himer aviv l'avos chavim. Let's say Rahman al-Islam is a person, a regular yid. He's got aliyahs, and then one day his father kicks and he starts serving idols. Karnas v'shem aviv k'mosh horgal. He gets the same name like he always had. Shalom Levaish Abraham, we don't want to embarrass him. And we see how important being embarrassing another yid is, to the extent they're even going to mention his father's name who's currently worshipping idols. For afraid that there's going to come to fight, the same thing. If we have someone whose father is not kosher, we call in the name of his grandfather from his mother. Then he gets that name Avram like a ger. Suma einay kairish, should not lame fishas likers if he lois zachish lemon exav, because you can't lame, because you have to actually read the words, and it's also to say words from the Torah without singing inside. Maril kasav the akshav kairish suma could lame kamoshanu kair makrin ba'Torah le'am ha'aretz, just like we allow the am ha'aretz to do so. So says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkatan Dalid Tzarich Limchas. You should protest mitoch divrei mechaber muchach. You know we see from the mechaber. Says the Mishnah Berurah Tafilu im yach likros emashliach sibra mila b'mila mitoch eksav gam kinein likros. So you should not even lane if you could read mila b'mila. Kim shach likro lachri, because someone else could get the aliyah. Aval mi divrei ator like mamizim kov menal v'chen shuvas arash shuva b'sham b'zeis safe. So we're going to see from those paiskim mashli ishakol b'zeh, says the Pri Chadash, you could be mekel, and if someone could lane together with the Balkari, that is enough. Loyali should not get the aliyah sivkot and hail fishas likros afi lo yizach shloim and aksav, because you can't lane even one word if you're not saying it inside like one sivkim by God men gina lakab cholgamni, as we just saw the case of the blind person, which we'll get to in a moment. Says Mishmur sivkot and vav afilu roish keneses v'kol shkein adam da'al mavatam shein roish achlu covered latzor. We don't just grab covered. What are you doing? You're just walking up to the Torah? We don't do that. And furthermore, we don't want to cause fights. But every person just going to go up and take the aliyah by himself. Misham dahavi sivkatan zayin shir Allah shayin kenu. When someone is appointed, the Shliach Tzibur, it's as if he's appointed for this. Says further. Nowadays the minhag is that we have a Baal Kairei, therefore once he has the power to be the Shliach Tzibur, no one's going to bother if he himself takes an aliyah, because either way he is laning. Because he's there, and this is again a case where the Baal Kairei gets the aliyah automatically. But if now we're going to Sivkat and Tas, which is going to the din if his father is a mummer, that we don't call him, but if it's everyone knows that's his father's name, we don't not say it because we don't want to embarrass him. We should not give explanations on his father. We don't say sheker. Quickly, people shouldn't realize. If this guy comes to another city and they say, what's your name? So he has to give them a name now. So don't give them the name of the father who's currently worshipping idols. Therefore, Yomer Shem Avi Aviv. But now, if we have a Shtuki Asufi, we give him the name of the Avi Imai, the mother of his father, the father of his mother. Mari Shabbos. Someone comes and says, we know this person's mother is Yiddish, we do not know who his father is, so we call him by the name of his mother's father. Says the Taz, we call him Ben Avram. We'll see the Dirshu for this in a moment. Sivkatan Yod Aleph. If we don't know Shem Avi Imai, the father's name, Ben Avram Hashem Kazav Ki Av Amoyin Goyim this Atichot Achshav Kari Suma. Nowadays we let a blind person to get an aliyah of a taimai. The Kim and Shanogim Shech Sibir Karivu Karimita Chaksav. Once the Baal Kairi is leaning from the Ksav Shovli Kapina, we're not as makbid right now. Allah Ila to Shamea Kaina, because he's Yaitse together with him. This really is similar to the Aliyah Rabbah that we saw quoted, that the curse doesn't apply and it's not as large of akbada for the person getting the aliyah. Even if we cannot lane word for word. A blind person could yes get an aliyah. Omikol Makaim, the Parshas Para, Parshas Zachar, Nachon Shali Kros Lechatchila, you should not get the aliyahs for Parshas Para and Parshas Zachar. And now we move over to some of the Dirshus. That one is cut off, okay. Dirshu note number 7 comments that what is the story what is the story? He says the Dirshu over here. If he goes to another city, and what if his grandfather also was a mummer? Says the Pri Megadim. He says maybe we should call him by his great-grandfather, because we only call people by their grandparents, the father and grandparents, but not higher than that, and he's misupik about that. Says the Taz, what do we do? We call him Ben Avram. The Chayadim says the same, and they explain the reason as, if we call him by the mother's father's name, perhaps he's going to come Legarish is Ishtoi b'Shem Zav, and it's like get puzzle. Maybe if he ends up divorcing his wife, they're going to use such a name, and such a name doesn't work in a get. So therefore, it says the Taz L'Chayadim, we should call him Ben Avram. And why? Because Avram was the father of all nations. Okay, let's see. These are a little bit of complicated cases. It is a little bit late. Nowadays, let's finish up with Dirshu number 10. What about a Chayr Shemadaber Veina Shemea, a mute? No, not a mute. Someone who's deaf, he can't hear, but he can talk. Says the Pri Megadim, he's allowed to get an aliyah and a lane together with Baal Karei. However, if he has to use, I think this means sign language, says there's some mezalmin, even if everyone could understand him, then he should not get the aliyah. Why? Because he doesn't make the bracha properly. Sas ilgim. Actually, I'm not sure what this means. So we're going to stop over here. And b'siyata d'shmaya, we will pick it up from Sif Dalid in the next shir.